Hi, good morning. So I'm Nick, I'm from Belgium. To give a very quick introduction to explain what is Belgium. So there are 3 books you should read, and then you know all about my country. Book number 1, Ugly Belgian Houses. In Belgium, we ignore most of the governments. We have so many layers of government, so everybody basically improvises and create their own building. So we ignore regulations. So all over Belgium, you see improvised houses, neighbors, the houses clash against each other. It's very interesting to follow. So book number 1. Second book, Barak Frituur. This is almost our national dish. So there are many towns where you'll see more of those places, small barracks to buy fries, instead of you have butchers or bakeries. So it's our second thing that it identifies us. And if you read one book about Belgium, make it Belgian Solutions. We have to improvise. We're a small country. We're 11 million people, 6 million in Flanders, so 2 languages that we use. So everybody needs to improvise, come up with their own solutions. So Belgian Solutions basically, it also defines me a little bit. You have to be creative to come up with new ideas. So this is the context. I'm an industrial designer. I founded the Board of Innovation. We're a consultancy based in Antwerp, but we work more on a global scale, mainly in the European context. And our goal is to make companies innovate like startups. So to learn from startups how they make money, but also the mindset to think and act like entrepreneurs. We do this for many different industries, so global players, multinationals. There's no clear sector focus. So we take ideas from one industry, see how a chemical company or a manufacturing company, how they innovate, and apply that maybe to a telco industry or a publisher. So we mix and match ideas between different industries. Topic for today, business model innovation. And just to make sure that we all talk about the same subject, in one sentence, business model innovation, it's an organization's logic of creating, delivering, and capturing value. So 3 different elements: creating, delivering, and capturing value. So what does it mean in a very practical way? So let's say you're in the news industry. It's a very traditional way of working. So creating in the news industry means you have to hire and work with a lot of journalists doing research. You have to have a lot of offices and facilities to support them. So you create a product, then you deliver that product. You put it on paper, maybe you have some paper boys or retail channels to deliver that product. And capturing value, that's probably the most important chain of your business model. How do you make money? So in the news industry, they have to sell ads. Probably, depending on the publisher, could be 2/3 of their income is selling ads, and then maybe 1/3 is just getting money for that newspaper with an annual fee or subscription. But this is how they make money. All those elements are being challenged today. So new technology pops in, and we all see the evolutions today, like mobile phones and Google and Facebook claiming that part of the capturing part of the value chain. And it's the same in many new industries today. So if you're in the retail business, normally you have a store and a cashier to make the selecting products. This is how you deliver the product, and then you have just check out at the end of there's a cashier, and you have to pay that lady for the goods. Very traditional model. New business models today rethink the complete rethink how you make money today. So this is an example of Freshbox, HelloFresh. You buy a box online with groceries, a pre-selected box, somebody else decides what you will eat this week. It's being delivered to your doorstep, and you check out and you pay in a digital way. So rethinking the way how you would make money. Later on in the workshop, every table you will get 3 cases. You can pick one of those cases, and you will try to come up with a new way to make money for yourself. So later on, we will have a team discussion, and you can use some of the insights that I share in my presentation to come up with new ideas. But I'll explain that at a later stage. So there are a lot of options to make money, and that's what I will explain you. I'll give a lot of basically like sort of menu, different options, and it's up to you to decide which is relevant for your own case or for your own company. So how do you explore different business models? Basically, you could say there are 5 big categories of business models with different sub-elements. So going for a free business model, so you have to find money via a different stream. You could work with third parties that pay the bill, or some combinations. So if you zoom in on one, let's say third party, so there could be advertising based, data sellers, and so on. So I'll jump from one option to the other and give some examples, how it works, how other industries are experimenting with different revenue models. You will all get the slides. I'll make sure that the organization gets the slides. If you don't receive the PDF in the end or gets lost, make sure to contact me personally on LinkedIn, or I'm all over the internet. I'll make sure you get all the content so you can do it yourself. If you want to look for extra money, there's no magic. It's always hard work. You have to be very creative. Let me just give one example from a couple of years ago. This was 2005, 2006, if I'm correct. Some young guy, he decided, okay, I want to make $1 million, so I sell 1 million pixels for $1, and people can put their ads on it. I think most of you remember this page. They got a lot of attention, so it was a very creative solution, and many people thought, why didn't I invent it? It's so easy, just $1 million, the guy got it. So of course there were a lot of copycats. So in the weeks after this, this project, many other websites popped up, also selling ads by selling pixels, but they were not so successful, because basically what they did, they just looked at this format and they just copied it, but didn't really understand why it worked and how it could evolve. So there were some copycats, but none of them were really successful. But the same guy who invented this, 1 year later, tried something else, the $2 million page, so he just doubled it. But there was $1 million in prize money. So he turned it into a sort of lottery. You buy 1 pixel for $2, but there's a prize, a giveaway for $1 million. So it didn't manage to reach his goal, not a $2 million, but he managed to make, again, as a very young guy in his 20s, he managed to make another couple of €100,000. So you could say the project failed, but if you're in your 20s and you suddenly have extra $200,000 on your bank account, I consider this as a very successful project. So the goal should always be to copy and to remix. You have to understand, okay, this is what it works today, and we need to evolve, not just blindly copying one company and apply it to your industry. You have to understand the mechanics, the patterns behind the business model. So there's a lot of debate. Many people talk about, okay, look, there's Airbnb, there's Uber, there's Tesla, all these big brands. And then they just try to copy the same model, but you have to understand what exactly are you copying? What is the key component of that business model? So if you talk about Airbnb, there are thousands of copycats today. Airbnb of food, Airbnb of parking, Airbnb of Airbnb even. So there's a sort of meta cycle. You can look for the Airbnb of Airbnb. It takes me a little bit more time to explain. But there's so many copycats. And basically, if you say, what are you actually copying, if you do it well, most of the time it's a principle. It's matchmaking people to make money from assets, the things they own. This is probably the core component. If people have own assets and they try to match them with other people, this is the elements you would like to copy. And not maybe the visual style, not the branding, and so on. This is probably the core pattern you try to apply to your own industry. If people talk about Uber, most of the time what they copy is sort of an on-demand service via an application. This is very generic. That's why you see thousands of copycats of Uber. Everybody just has an application. You want something on demand, and suddenly it's the Uber of retail, the Uber of fashion, whatever. But there's an important thing. We organize a lot of boot camps, brainstorm sessions with companies, and always there are, let's say, if you're a group of 10 tables, there are 3-4 tables that are starting discussion. Uber should become the Uber of, the Airbnb of, and so on. But many people don't copy the right elements. So if there's another topic that many people talk about, they want to be the Tinder of another industry. So dating application. And what Tinder did was they had a very new way to interact and to match people. So if you like somebody, you swipe left. If you don't like somebody, you swipe right or something. So many people just copied that same interface. It's an interface element they copy, but not really the business model behind Tinder. So while it sounds the same, yes, we are the Netflix of, we are the Airbnb of another industry. If you are the Tinder of an industry, most people just copied a basic interface element, but don't really understand how they make money and how to copy those elements. So you have to be aware of how companies make money, so only then you can realize how to apply it to your own industry. So the goal should be to understand the patterns, the systems behind those tools. So there are a couple of questions to ask. Maybe I'll ask a first question to you, so you can all use your voting system again. Which of those 3 business models do you think experimented the most with new revenue models? So 3 industries, music, movies, and the gaming industry. Which of those 3 experimented the most with new revenue models?
So we are using then our system?
Yes, you can now switch to the Mentimeter system. I think you can put it on slide. Yes.
Lūdzu, ieslēdzam balsošanas ierīci, ieejam atkal pārlūkā, kurā iespējams jums joprojām ir atvērts Mentimeters. Atrodam.
So basically, the 3 industries were all challenged by piracy, free business models, new technology, but some industries really understood better than, okay, we need to move forward and experiment and learn.
Tie, kas vēl nav, tātad, ja jums neparādās jautājums vai izvēle, nospiediet refresh, tātad, lai parādās atkal nākamais jautājums vai izvēle, un izvēlamies.
Yeah, but I think the pattern becomes clear. So as you realize, the movie industry is really probably the worst player from the 3. So they're fighting against all piracy. They don't want to experiment with new system. They really try to block innovation. So that's a clear pattern that you also see. Music industry in the middle, but indeed, gaming industry is really jumping forward. There are dozens of experiments in the market where small indie developers, small companies are all trying to come up with new ideas to make money, from in-app purchases, pay-what-you-want systems, small add-ons, subscription models. There are dozens of examples today in the gaming industry, and they've found very clever ways to make money today. They're not sticking to the traditional model.
So, Nick, that means that we are clever here. We understand the business.
Yes, yes, you have a good overview already. Yes.
Thank you. So we can finish voting now.
Yeah, we can move to the next. I have another question for you. So let's first switch to my slides.
Tātad atkal nospiežam refresh.
Let me see. Yeah, I want to show you this. Another question. So imagine you have a small package with 3 software tools. You have to buy it yourself. So there's a software package. In this box, there's a small encryption tool to do encrypted messaging, maybe with friends or with your colleagues. In the same bundle, there's also a funny face application, maybe to create funny pictures of your kids. And at the same time, in the bundle, there's a time tracker to manage your tasks. So there's one bundle, 3 tools. What would you pay? So there are 6 price points. Maybe you don't want to pay anything at all, just give it for me for free. Or you think, okay, another price is more reasonable. This is what I'm willing to pay for that.
So if we would wish to buy all of 3 of those.
The combination of the 3, what would you pay? Pick your own price.
Okay.
You can switch to the Mentimeter, so we can see if there are already some votes. A lot of freeloaders. People don't want to pay anything, just give me the tools, whatever. Okay, good. Then some people in the price points, 0 to 5 euro. Okay, not above 10 euro. 2 very ambitious people, yes, 20 euro, it will help me save some time. Great. Many industries today are experimenting with pay-what-you-want model. So you just ask the customer, what would you actually pay? And then it's, of course, a challenge. Can you make some money with it? Is it a real profit? So if enough people are willing to pay something, and it doesn't cost you too much to serve those people, it might make sense. But an extra question, so you can switch to the next slide of Mentimeter. There's an extra question in Mentimeter. So how many of you are Windows or Mac users? Or you might use another system, like Linux or another operating system.
What if both?
The main device. Some of you use both, but what your main
but that's on the computer or on
your computer? Yeah, the most of the time the work that you do on a computer. Yeah. I just asked this extra question to have a better understanding. So some of you decided to go for 0. Others decided, okay, maybe 4 euro, 5 euro might be a good price. Maybe some other people decided, okay, 20 euro even is a very fair price point. But it also links to your own profile. And this is just one element that links to your profile. So what type of operating system do you use? So if you can switch to my own slides again, let me illustrate how it comes together. There's a very clever platform today humblebundle.com, and they do exactly the same. So every week they make a new bundle with software tools, or games, or ebooks. Most of the time it's our digital products. And they just ask you as a user, what would you pay? And whatever price you think is fair, you can just pay, and €2, €10, €100, whatever you think is fair, you can just pay. They make millions of euros, so a lot of people actually put real money on the table for that. And there's a clever trick because they understand how to convert people to actually pay more than €0, or more than maybe €2. So they have different systems in place. One of them is they really try to emphasize the profile of the, in this case, let's say the developers of games. If you folks look, those people really put hard work in their product. They put a lot of effort. It's a young, ambitious developer team. But if you're a software developer yourself, many of them use Linux as well. Some might use Macs, but less use Windows. So they also even see that in the price point. So the average Windows user is willing to pay around €8, the Mac user around €12. If you're a Linux user, many people pay €15 or more for a bundle. So they link to the profile of people and say, look, you're related to this, and you see the patterns. So people like you, on average, pay €12, so you're more inclined also to follow that. Yes, I'm also a Linux user, so I better pay in that price range. I'm not a Windows user, so €5 is too low for me. Another thing they do, very smart, is for every time you pay more than the average so far, the price, you get an extra software tool. So the average price continuously goes up, but if you just pay €1 more than the average price, you unlock 1 or 2 extra games, so you're inclined to maybe pay a little bit more, and sometimes maybe €2, you unlock something else. So they have a lot of clever systems to encourage people to pay a little bit more, and today it's a very successful platform, and even without asking any money at all, so you can just have all the tools for €1 or €0. They really understand how to motivate people to play. You see the same in an offline context. Restaurants, publishers, content providers, consultants, many people experiment with the same model. So just ask a client, whatever the price you think is fair, you can pay that. It only works in an offline context, like a restaurant, if you have an emotional connection. If there's a waitress that serves you the full evening, she's very friendly, you have a good connection, and then at the end of the evening, you put a bill and you decide, no, I don't pay anything. That doesn't really work. But if you have a good collaboration in the evening and say, okay, it's fine, there's some group pressure on the table, yes, of course, it was great dinner, and you know the normal price for dinner, many people pay even more than the normal price. So it's very interesting to follow how other people copy this model. So in the first category, all the products could be free. You could decide to sell your company, an early exit. There's a different way to make money. Pay what you want model. Some people focus more on free donations. A donation versus pay what you want is slightly different. A donation, many people just want to support somebody, but don't always expect something in return. While with the pay what you want model, people, yes, I want those goods, I want those games, I want that dinner, so I expect something and I put a fair price. But a donation, you might just want to support somebody, and whatever the price could be. Then there are barter models, where people don't exchange money, but they just swap goods. So I'll give you a bike ride, you give me a haircut later in the week. So there are some networks or Facebook groups or communities where people help each other out. There might be a system to manage the value in between, but there's no money involved. So it links in the category free business models. If you want to make money, that's not enough, of course. Otherwise, if everybody exchanges products and services without money, then you still need to find an experiment with another revenue stream. So there's a big important topic. If you have free users, somehow you want to convert some of them to become paid users. Somebody needs to put money on the table. So why do people upgrade? Why do people actually pay money? How do you create more value? So there are different drivers that link to your own pricing model. You can apply them to your own industry, but I'll mention or describe a couple of them. One of them is really powerful, linking to vanity and reputation of people. Taking this as an extreme example, this is just an Android mobile phone. You can buy Android mobile phones today for around $20, $25, even lower sometimes. So those things are very cheap. But still, companies like this, Vertu, they managed to sell Android phones with different branding, different services around it for almost €21,000. for one smartphone. So the reason why they managed to sell these phones is because it's purely linked to vanity and reputation, to people want to be part of this luxury feeling. On top of that, there's also a concierge service, so there's a number you can dial. So somebody, if you need somebody, there's a helpline, maybe book a hotel for me this evening in Poland, whatever, just make it happen, and somebody will fix it. So there's a service on top of that. But there's a lot of, it links a lot to vanity and reputation. In a digital context, people pay to be seen as a pro on LinkedIn. People pay to become a premium user, so it's visible to others. Look, I'm a really professional, I'm a premium user, and so on. So it's also a reason why people upgrade and why people pay. In a gaming environment, because I talked about the experiments in gaming, they really understand how this works. A lot of people collaborate together in small tribes or groups of people. So if 5 of those people suddenly all buy the same purple hat, probably there's other people in the group also buy that just to belong to the group. You don't want to be that one guy that doesn't want to put $2 on the table. No, you also just buy $2 and you have the same purple hat, so you belong to the group. We do that as well in an offline context. A lot of brands really emphasize the power of their own branding, and important here is that you always need other people to show off. It's not good enough. So if you are this group of gamers, there need to be other gamers without purple hats to show, look, we belong together and you're not part of this group. So the same in an offline context, look, we use these products and you're not part of it. If you're in the airline business, several airlines experimented with the best luxury services, so the full plane, everybody first class, everybody business class, the best service ever, but that didn't really work because there were no second class users in the same plane. So some people only upgrade because they also feel more important, or they have better experience knowing that other people are sitting in the back with cramped feet and everything together. So you need to have a difference there. Vanity, reputation, some people want to be seen. Okay, I'm put myself here on stage, it's already something, but if you're in a digital context, there were experiments in 2012 where Facebook asked normal people to pay to be seen to their friends. So if you want your status update to be visible to your direct friends, some people had to pay. It was part of an experiment, but it didn't follow up later on. But actually, it's the same experiment, the same revenue model, linking to vanity and reputation. Another angle, loss aversion. Loss aversion means if you give something to a person and it creates some value or some friction, people don't want to you don't want to lose that anymore. So if you apply the tactic in a good way, it can be very powerful again. In an offline context, you see companies like SureGuard, where people can rent out storage in an industrial area, bigger buildings, so you can just store all your extra stuff, and you pay a monthly fee for that. But there's a lot of friction involved. Once you've put all your stuff in there, you need to make some plans later on, maybe to clean it, and you always postpone, and you just keep paying month over month. So they make a lot of money just by that. The same, of course, you see in a digital context where people store a lot of files in one system. There's a lot of friction to take it out later and to switch to another platform. So people don't want to lose anything. So they postpone it and they keep on paying. If you manage to pull people in this direction, you might offer them some free service at first, and later on, once you really understand, yeah, now they're locked in, they have all their stuff in there, and very gradually you convert them to a paying user. So it might start free, and then later on, depending on how they use your product, you push them to different price points, and after a while, they don't realize it anymore. Look, suddenly I'm paying €50 per month, and I started as a free user. What happened? And as a company, if you manage it well, you're able to push people to a higher price point. Another way, another angle, pay-per-use. Blendle is a very interesting platform. It's linked to the publishing industry. What they do, instead of selling a newspaper or publishing magazines, instead of selling them on a monthly fee or an annual fee, they just sell all the articles, let's say an article for 10 cents or 29 cents. You can just only read what you actually want to read. And it's a very young, ambitious startup, they're going very strong the recent years, but they're very customer-centric. Meaning, if you don't like an article, even if you just pay 20 cents, but you don't like the article, it was the bad description, and you start reading, and after one page, oh, this is really a stupid article, you can just ask your money back, always. So you can do that over and over again. If you start reading, you don't like it, you get your money back, no questions asked. But it still works. There are not so many people do that. There's value in that, and people have, okay, it's a good experience, you understand me, there's a good article. People just pay the money, and not so many people ask their money back. Many publishers today are very happy to work together with them. They have a good profit-sharing model with existing publishers. Definitely keep an eye on them. They're going very strong the recent years. Another reason why people pay and why you can push them to upgrade. Linking to privacy or, how to say, anonymous. I talked about gaming, but another area is the dating industry. Dating industry is again, full with new experiments. And some platforms, like this is a platform from DateMe in Kenya. If you want to browse other profiles anonymous, so they don't get a notification that somebody watched your profile, you have to pay. Otherwise, you just use the platform for free. So it's a very great example where people, if you want to hide yourself, people just are willing to pay a little bit more for that convenience. Another topic, mystery and surprises. Again, very powerful. A lot of games really understood that instead of just selling that purple hat or that weapon or whatever, you just put a mystery crate out there, and people can buy, let's say, one crate is €5 in real money or €2, and you don't really know what's in there, but just the thrill of discovering what might be in there is really a big motivator for people to buy even more of that. Of course, every once in a while, you really need to discover something new, something powerful, or a shortcut in the game. And some games, their main revenue stream is suddenly those mystery crates. So every couple of days, they offer new mystery crates, and people are just paying with real money to get new virtual items. And this is a continuous cycle, and some people just spend all their money in these games via this system. This is in a digital context, but the same happens in an offline context, where more and more companies are looking for ways, can we offer a mystery box or mystery travel kit or whatever, so people pay up front to experience something new, but they don't really know what actually will happen. So it's the same principle, offering mystery, focusing on surprises, and there's a specific segment that's interested to discover those new things. So it always depends on your industry, how you could frame it, but it seems that mystery experiences are a real powerful experiment to work with. Another example in the dating industry, this is an experiment from the company OkCupid. They had mystery blind dates, so you go on a date, the system will match you up with somebody else, so only in the evening you realize, okay, this is now the person I have to spend the rest of the evening with, but there's a sort of first experience. After the first 10 or 15 minutes, the application from both people will ask, do you like this date? Do you like that person? What do you think? Is it the first impression now, 10, 15 minutes? And the application is free, but if you agree, I rate this person 4 out of 5, let's continue. The higher you rate that person, so the higher success rate of their service, the more you pay. So up to €3 per date. So it's clever in itself that you give the service for free, and only if you manage to create value, if there's a successful match, only at that moment you ask some money. A very basic principle, but that's something you can copy to many different domains. Convenience and shortcuts. Many people just want to save time, to move quicker, to move faster. So paying for that convenience is a very great trigger to motivate people to pay just a little bit more on the price point. 2 examples here that really zoom in on the convenience part. The Gun app. If you want to sell something online, you could go to a website, take pictures, write a description, set a price, do the full process, do the delivery. So the full cycle of selling something online could be quite hectic. What they do, just take one picture and it's done. What they will do, they will decide what a fair price point is for this camera. They will recognize the camera, they will set a price, they will find the buyer, and you just get the money and you get a delivery box, you put the camera in there and it's being sold. So they just take away all the hassle, just one picture and it's done. This is another application, HomeSnap in the States, where if you want to know more information about a specific home or a house, just take a picture on the street. They will detect the location, detect the house, give you all the information on the potential price points, the history of the house, whatever data they have, just with one picture. So people paying to get to work with that convenience. Again, in the gaming industry, there's a specific kind of game. This was started by this company, Zynga, was really successful in applying this tactic. It's what they describe by themselves, the grind, spam, pay tactic. So, or you grind, meaning you spend days building your own tractor or growing your vegetables, but it takes days to actually achieve something. And then people decide, okay, maybe I just speed up things, and if I spam 20 of my friends, okay, instead of 20 days, I only have to wait 2 days. And then people, okay, 2 days is still long, let's just pay $2, and now I'm directly at the next level. So pushing people through the cycle, so start to grind, then somehow you involve other people. They have been blocked, of course, by Facebook. There was some issues that they were they were spamming too many people, the experience was not well, and it was pushing back on Facebook itself. But the mechanic itself was very successful, grinding, spamming, and then convincing people to pay for the convenience. And the last topic here, if you want to help your friends, your peers, with gifts or whatever, many people are willing to do that. So a concrete example, in the publishing industry, I'm a paying user for a very specific business website, Bagdal. Every once in a while, he writes very long, very in-depth articles, so I'll pay a monthly fee to have access to those long articles. But if I want to share an article with somebody else, I can do that, and the other person can get that article for free. But at the same time, on top of this article, my own name will be there. Look, you get this article for free, thanks to Nick. So there's some vanity involved, and I can help somebody else out. This is also a reason why I'm paying for this platform, because I can help somebody else. This also creates value for me, so not only on the article, but also that I can help other people with insights. So a complete different chapter now. So I talked about free models, mechanics to convince people to upgrade or to pay. There's a second type of business model. So instead of focusing on one relationship with one user, you work with multiple parties. So many business models today have a very complex triangle relationship with many different stakeholders. If you focus on third parties and how they are involved, often it links to advertising. People assume it's easy. You start a platform, gain a community, or if you have access to your own client base, and then you involve advertisers. They will solve the revenue issue at some point. This becomes very difficult because, or if you have a mainstream product, if you have a mainstream client segment, without too much details, traditionally advertisers would go to TV or radio, just to have a general market segments to address, but all that money today is moving to Google and Facebook, so it becomes difficult. So that's difficult for you as well to reach them. Another way is that you go very, 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 very specific. Let's say in Belgium, here's an example, there's this small social network for bakeries and butchers. There's just a couple of hundred people on there, but almost all the bakers are on that platform. So if very specific profile information of this is our user group, then you can work with advertising, because then you have a very specific target market that it can work for you. But too often, companies end up somewhere in the middle. You have a generic view. Let's say you have a client segment living around the city. Okay, the city itself is not clear enough. It's just a mainstream segment, and then nobody is actually willing to pay for that in an advertising model. So or be very specific or be very generic, but it becomes difficult, but don't end up in the middle, because then it will never work. Affiliate referral fees, you just get a commission on the sale of another product. If you sell another product for somebody else, you get a 5% kickback and could make some money. Data reselling, many companies explore options to repackage data, to get insights and do some reselling there, although there are, of course, always regulations involved and privacy issues. But still, there are many good experiments in this area. A joint venture partnership, okay, maybe you join forces, you have another way to split profit between two different companies. There's always an option to explore. White label or going as a franchise. The white label option, meaning you build a product, but somebody else can use your service, but put their own branding on top of it. For many companies today, this is almost like a backup option. They work for years, they try to build their own products, but they realize maybe that the marketing or sales that they're doing is not so strong, so they just outsource, or they say, let somebody else take care of that, and they can use our products. We get 30% of all the profit, but they can use our product with their own branding. So backup options for some. A last option here, get one, give one. So meaning that a client, just to give a concrete example here, there are some coffee bars where you can buy suspended coffees. Meaning if you can afford it, you buy immediately for 2 or 3 coffees, but you just get one. But if somebody else, let's say people with not enough money, homeless people and so on, if they also want a good cup of coffee, they can just ask, is there a suspended coffee? There's a coffee waiting for me that somebody else paid. Then some people pay for the convenience and, okay, I can afford it, then they can help somebody else out. So it's not just the value of the coffee, but also the value of doing something good and to support somebody else. Again, you see the same in hardware products where people buy one and then somebody else gets another, so they buy double the price of one laptop, but then somebody else in need can use another laptop for free. If you combine some of those elements in another area, matchmaking or broker models, this is like Airbnb and many models today that have some kind of matchmaking model to bring people together. You're the middleman, you take commission, or at some point you make some money. There are different elements. You could say you bring together 2 parties, they do a transaction, you take some money out of that transaction, but it could be that just one side pays. And that's a good start, but there are many other options. Meaning this is your company, your own startup. In the context of dating, let's say there's a man and a woman, they offer each other an experience, the experience of a relationship or a date or whatever experience there is, but let's say only the men pay. Typically in a dating model, the man will need to pay for the convenience to message to somebody or to get contact details, and the women are there for free. So this is often what happens in a dating model. So just one side pays. It could be, there are other systems, they have another experiment, is to encourage this cycle, they start to pay women to be on a platform. So it's not just free, women are even being paid to be part of that platform. Very controversial because you see platforms like this. So some women, basically the men are bidding with the best date. So I will take you on this date, I'll pay you this amount, you'll have a great experience, but somebody else offers a better date with even more money involved, a better experience, then they might pick the best option. The problem, of course, is there are other extreme examples where beautiful women travel for free. That's the name of the website. Where some men offer full trips, holidays, 1 week to Hawaii, and you can join me there, and there's no expectation, really, no, there's no expectation, but I'm paying you for the trip for this week. Very controversial, but from a matchmaking point of view, it's another way to make transactions and to solve it. But of course, not always easy to copy to your own context. So often when you decide, okay, at least you have one side that pays, there are probably options that both sides are paying. So the typical auction models like eBay, they really understand that, okay, on one side, the one that's selling a product, that person will maybe pay a posting fee or another fee to be higher on the listing, so they will get a lot of money there. But then if you're a buyer of products, maybe you can make some money there for better advanced search or for some alerts or some other systems, so have a premium profile. So some auction platforms really understand that you can hear both parties, they both do a transaction, and you can make money on the both ends as well. So if you realize, okay, I'm just approaching one side, there must be some option to also make some additional money from the other side of our model. Very easy way to explore new options. So matchmaking brokers, there are some other topics like crowdfunding today. There are many options, many platforms today that support crowdfunding initiatives where different people come together. It's sometimes just a form of charity. You want to support another company with their first products. Maybe there's no real expectation to actually get something in return. You just want to support them. Other crowdfunding platforms are basically pre-sales platforms. You really buy the product, but let's say with a 10% discount up front. That's a good start. And more advanced, some other crowdfunding platforms are moving more and more to an investment platform. You even buy shares in a company, you want some return of future profits. So crowdfunding is not just a one-size-fits-all, there are also dozens of variations in this area. But let me zoom in on another example here. Penny auctions, a very experimental and weird way how auction models could work. Let me show one example. Yes. A penny auction works like this. So a normal auction would be, I have a laptop, I put it in a platform, the highest bidder just gets a laptop for €1,000 or €800. Okay, that's a normal way of working. They do it differently. So if they start to sell a laptop on this platform, There are different groups of people. So the price, the laptop is being offered on the platform for €1 as a starting point. But every time you need to raise the price of this laptop, if you want to have it for €2, okay, you raise the price to €2, but then you need to pay 50 cents on top. And then somebody else said, no, €3, and then they also pay 50 cents on top. So there are platforms where okay, you don't see it. So there's a group of people that are bidding on these auctions. Maybe they already pay €2,000 in total for all the 50 cents that are for every transaction. They take 50 cents already. And then maybe the highest bidder, in the end, he or she buys the product for €250 and maybe some extra bidding costs on top. So they get a laptop for €300, €400. But in total, the platform makes maybe €3,000, €4,000 just on the process of running this penny auction site. It's a very clever model to encourage people, but this business model more or less died in the recent years because there were too many fraudulent platforms on top. So while there are some good examples, just perfect, good credibility, there are too many fraudulent platforms where a lot of bots or other people, fake profiles are bidding, and all this industry basically collapsed on its own. So you don't see many of the sites from a couple of years back that are applying this technique. So there are 5 different categories. So those 4 are combined, and then there's still a last group of business models, let's say sort of a mixed model, subsidized way of working. You could build one product, but at the same time you have a secondary product. You see some websites where you offer a lot of articles for free, but then you have a web shop in your website, maybe where you can sell some other products, and this is just a basic web shop system that can fund your other business. It's not always easy to build that, but then basically you're running 2 businesses at the same time, hopefully for the same client profile, so then it could work. A razor blade model, you sell two types of product. One could be the Nespresso machine, the coffee machine, and every month you sell some coffee cups. You don't make too much money on the machine, but you make most money on the consumables. Same with inked cartridges, and so on. And you can experiment a lot with credits and points. So instead of focusing a lot on the monetary transactions, as soon as possible you want to convert the wallet of that customer into points and credits. So when they start paying on your platform, they start to spend points and credits and not money anymore. So they start to lose the real value of that. So it could be a part of a bigger business model, it could be one key transaction, but this really can help to encourage people to spend more. It's up to you to decide how strong, you don't want to have a negative reputation there, but if you play it well, a credits points-based system could really help to raise the average price of people. But basically, there's an overview. Let's say there are 20 different options, different categories of business models, but there's never an easy fix. There's no standard solution like just take this model and magic will happen and it will fly. No, it's always a matter of experimentation. You might have your core product today, but try to come up with new ways, do some small test projects on the side, see if you could find an extra revenue stream on top, run a couple of experiments at the same time, see if you could raise the prices for some reputation or to stay anonymous or whatever. Do some experiments, and if you see that one of those experiments actually could work, then you can start thinking of scaling. So there's no easy fix to find new money, but just make sure to do a lot of experiments during a year, and over time you will be able to find more revenue. I want to conclude here. We have a workshop later on where you can use some of those insights, but I'll tell you a lot more at a later stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this is time for one last question before we go into lunch. Vai ir kāds jautājums droši, lūdzu? How do you measure if the company is or not innovative? Is there any metrics so our today's guests can find out are they innovative at all and how far they went?
Yeah. Well, with many companies we have these discussions. We could call it innovation accounting or innovation criteria or metrics, but one good metric for me, if nobody gets mad in your company, you're not innovating.
So if no one gets mad,
yeah.
You're not innovating.
Then you're just doing the same thing you were doing the last 5 years. Everybody has his role and function. If you're not kicking somebody, nobody really frustrated that, oh, why should we do this? And nobody gets mad, then you're in the safe zone. Everybody just agrees and you go forward.
So I just hire the madman in my company and I'm innovative enough already.
Yeah, it should not be a lone wolf, but you have to steer around in a company to make things happen. Yeah. You have to feel that.
Okay, good. Let's make one question, just raising hands. Tātad neliela balsošana. Vai jūsu uzņēmumā ir kāds, kuram nepārtraukt kaut kas nepatīk no tā, kas viņam jādara? Lūdzu, paceliet rokas. So, plenty of mad people in these companies. Okay, but that wouldn't be enough, right? People are just unsatisfied with lots of things.
It's a good start to see if you're, of course, in the end, you need to make some money as well. But the first starting point, it's more important for me to show that you learn something than that actually money is flowing in. So if the first months and years, if you can show, look, we already tried this, we learned something, we tried something else, we learned something new, that itself is also a good indication that you're trying to innovate somewhere. So for me, the quick fix, like we tried something, there's money on the bank next month, okay, probably then you already knew what you were doing. It's the same product, but you just scaled it a little bit. It's not a new experiment.
Do you know maybe any areas or businesses where people don't have to innovate? There should be some where people are working and please don't do anything differently yet.
I don't think that the industry exists. There's some of them are faster, of course, but in the end, every company today is open for, I could call disruption or change or new technology. It's easier and easier for other entrants to suddenly jump into your market, so nobody's safe today, unfortunately.
Oh, no one's safe today, thank you. Paldies, aplausos. Thank you very much.